You know that feeling, right? That little voice in your head, the one that feels like you, the one steering the ship, making all the calls? But what if I told you that voice, that I, is a complete illusion?
Yeah, what if that whole feeling of a single, unified you is just a story? A really clever narrative that your brain tells itself, just to keep you from going crazy from the absolute chaos of all the other voices inside your skull, all fighting for control.
So who is in charge then? Well, let's dive in. It turns out there's one really powerful part of your brain that's kind of taken on the role of a press secretary. Its job is to silence all the other noisy departments and just broadcast one single, clean story to the world. And, more importantly, to yourself. And we only know this because of some truly shocking experiments that blew up everything we thought we knew about consciousness. But before we can get to those mind-bending experiments, we gotta do a quick crash course on the brain's basic blueprint. There are really just two key principles you need to understand that make everything else possible. First up is specialization. So just think of your brain like a big company with different departments. Your left hemisphere, that's kind of like the accounting and legal department. It handles all the language and logic. The right hemisphere, that's your arts and design department. Great with spatial stuff and recognizing faces. This whole division of labor just makes the system run way more efficiently. Second is asymmetry, and this is where evolution got really clever. Your left brain controls the right side of your body, and your right brain controls the left side. It's all crisscrossed. So why do that? Well, it's a brilliant safety feature. I mean, think about it. If you're a general commanding an army, you don't set up your command post right on the front lines, right? By putting the control center for, say, your left arm on the right side of your brain, you don't lose both the arm and the general in one single blow. Okay, so you've got these two specialized halves. Now, what do you think happens when you surgically cut the connection between them? Back in the mid-20th century, as a last-ditch effort to treat severe epilepsy, doctors did just that. And while it helped the patients, it also accidentally created this unbelievable window directly into the human mind. And all of a sudden, scientists could talk to each hemisphere separately. With no bridge connecting them, the left brain had zero idea what the right brain was seeing or thinking, and vice versa. And that, my friends, is where things get truly mind-blowing. Let me introduce you to Joe, one of the most studied split-brain patients. So in this classic experiment, researchers flashed two different images to his eyes at the exact same time. His right eye, which sends information to his talkative left brain, saw a hammer. His left eye, which reports to his silent right brain, saw a saw. So the researcher asks, Joe, what do you see? Well, his left brain, the one with the speech center, only saw the hammer. So that's what he says. I see a hammer. Simple enough, right? But hold on, because here comes the twist. The researcher then tells him to draw what he saw, and this is key, with his left hand. Now, remember, the left hand is controlled by the right brain, and the right brain saw the saw. So without even thinking about it, Joe's left hand draws a perfect picture of a saw. He looks down at it, and he seems just as surprised as anyone else in the room. I mean, think about that. His mouth, controlled by one consciousness, confidently reported a hammer. His hand, controlled by a totally separate consciousness, reported a saw. For the very first time, we had undeniable, concrete proof of two different minds, two separate wills, just coexisting inside one person's skull. And this wasn't just about simple objects. These two minds had different personalities, even different ambitions. Get this, when one patient was asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, his speech center, the left brain, answered with total confidence, a lawyer. But at the same exact time, his left hand was given a pencil and it wrote down, a stripper. I mean, come on, two completely different life paths living in the same person. Now, here's the thing. This internal conflict, this sort of mental civil war, is happening inside all of us, all the time. But we don't feel it, do we? We feel like a single, unified me. So how does the brain hide all this chaos from us? Well, this is where we meet the most fascinating character in this whole story. Scientists discovered that the left hemisphere's speech center has another secret job. It acts as the interpreter. Its entire function is to watch what the body does, actions that are often started by the silent right hemisphere, and then instantly invent a plausible story to explain why it did it, even if it has no idea what the real reason is. Here is a perfect example. A patient's right brain is shown the word banana, while the left brain only sees the color red. He instinctively picks up a red marker and draws a banana. When asked why, his interpreter, which, remember, never saw the word banana, has to invent a story on the spot. It doesn't say, "I don't know." It says, with total confidence, "I drew a banana because it's the easiest shape to draw." A logical but completely false story. And this happens in a split second. In another test, the left brain sees face, the right sees a smile. The patient draws a smiling face. When asked why it's smiling, the interpreter just snaps back, "What, did you want me to draw a sour face?" It's not looking for the truth. It's just looking for a narrative that works. So at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, this is weird, but this only applies to people with a rare medical condition. What does this have to do with me? Well, it turns out this interpreter, this nonstop storyteller, is working inside your head right now. We all do this, constantly. This whole mechanism is the engine behind a phenomenon we've all experienced: cognitive dissonance. You know that uncomfortable, kind of crawly feeling you get when you do something that conflicts with your beliefs? That's the itch. And to scratch it, your interpreter jumps in and invents a story that smooths everything over. And this explains so much about our behavior. In a classic study, people who did a painfully boring task for free later rated it as interesting. Why? Because their interpreter had to invent a reason to justify wasting their time. It's also why doing a favor for someone you dislike can actually make you like them more. Your interpreter solves the conflict by just deciding, you know what, he must not be so bad after all. Your feelings literally change to match your actions. So what's the ultimate takeaway here? Over millions of years of evolution, our brain wasn't optimized for objective, capital T, truth. It was optimized for efficiency. A single coherent story, even if it's a total fiction, is just way better for survival than being paralyzed by the chaos of a bunch of conflicting internal voices. The storyteller's only job is to keep the system moving forward. So if the you that you know and experience every day is just a story, a convenient narrative cooked up by a little press secretary in your brain, just to create order from chaos, that leaves us with one final and kind of haunting question. Who or what is telling the story that you call your life?